Welcome back. I'm Kim Bailey. She's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec. Today, we're going to talk about being confident. We're talking about being confident from a couple of points of view. We understand that there are some cultural taboos about being what would appear to be overconfident, about blowing your own trumpet, for want of a better phrase. But we want to talk about confidence in terms of promoting yourself and your skills and your abilities and not being seen as unsure or not so much not confident, but not able to carry out the task. So we'll let Fulyana talk a little bit about the two differences, and then we'll follow up the conversation with our own views.
To me, we're talking about being confident, and people, as Kim said, are some people love being that main person in the room, love talking about themselves, love being the peacock. And for some people don't like it or feel artificial, if you like, and border on arrogance. Now, it's not either or. You've got to think factually, as far as I can see. It's basically being confident is able to allow people to listen to you, allow people to look at what you're saying and understand it. Because when you're confident, and if you're confident about explaining to me a process, a product, how does something work, why is it good to have this in your toolkit, why is it important not to do that, you come across as confident, and I'm listening to you, I'm taking value from what you're saying and using it. If you're talking about yourself and all of a sudden you turn into, not deliberately, but you turn into being timid and humble, which is nice to be humble, but not to the point where then I don't understand who you are. I don't understand what your experiences are. You're not telling me your story. I don't understand. I don't get to know you. How is that going to help anyone? Do I go away and say, oh, that guy was really humble. That woman was really nice. She was humble. Okay, and that's it. That's all I can say about you, the positive thing. But what I can't say is, what sort of person are you? What do you like? What's your passion? What is your career aspirations? What's your family like? Etc. So you've got to learn to talk about yourself by telling your story in a way that is factual, realistic, and normal. It doesn't have to be a big, grand presentation. It doesn't have to be a show-off thing. But also use some of the techniques and tools, which is like, if I'm saying, yes, I was fortunate enough to get an award for reducing costs by $2 million, say it like that. That's not arrogant. It's a fact. And then just maybe explain that. So I was one of 5 people, one of a team of people, whatever, that actually did this. And how it started with, for example, with one of the team members who does the data mining, got this data out and said, look, doesn't look right, maybe we should look into it. So when you do that, guess what? I'm understanding how you save the money. I understand that you are humble. I understand that you're a team player. I understand that every part of that team had made a difference to achieve the 20, whatever it is. Not just me and not just I, but I got an award together with, or if you got it, a single award for leading that team. So I got it on behalf of the team. That's fine. But the important thing is the facts. I want to know what it was and how. How it's not always the big finale, it's every bit that led to it. Like that data analyst that came up with that idea. Like that person who said, well, no, if we design this differently or we just change the color, you will get X.
I think the most important part of that is remembering that when someone else is asking you about an activity for which you have been acknowledged, that they're not interested in you. It's not about you. As much as you might always have been told all your life that you're wonderful and you're special, it's actually not about you. It's about the project, it's about the result, it's about the activity. And so focus on that. And that should make it, I would think, easier for you to speak confidently and to sound confident, because you are talking about a process or a project or an activity of which you were part, or you might have been an integral part. It might have been you that did it all, but they're interested in the activity and the result. They're not interested in you as an individual. They're interested in the activity.
Being able to articulate that to a group of people, they're going to be a mixed group of people. For example, if you're sitting in a room and you had this idea or you want to tell us about something you've done, it's going to be a mix of people in that room. Some of them will be technical, some of them will not be technical, some of them will be short attention span, some will be detailed or oriented, etc. So start off at high level. The articulation of what you did and the factual will reach everyone using plain English. It's fine. It's really just like you telling some of your friends, but telling them in a serious way, not in a jokey manner. That's it.
In terms of presenting information, we've talked about it before. It's about keeping it in plain English, making it clear, and not bombarding people with the detail, the data, the technical information. If they want that, you have it available and you say you've got it available. But the first thing that will switch people off is to be bombarded by information that they can't take in and can't work into their own understanding, but they are at a meeting or they're at a presentation where they're expected to do it. If you're telling them that here's all the information, and then you might ask them a question at the end of it and they know they're not going to be able to work out the answer, so they switch off, and you get the brunt of their frustration with that activity because you're putting them in a position where they are not confident about their abilities. So my message to you in that sense is about the presentation. It's keep it simple, keep it focused, and have the other information available for the people who want that information. And if they don't want it, if nobody wants it, it doesn't matter, because you've got the information there in case someone asks for it 6 months down the track.
The other thing is, if you are not clearly communicating, you're going to come across as unsure, which is going to lead people to all sorts of thoughts like, oh, maybe he didn't really have a part in it. Maybe just name was there. Maybe she really doesn't understand what's going on. And all you're doing is you're being preoccupied in being humble and not arrogant, missing the fact side of things and telling it as it is. So ditch the bit about, worrying too much. Just be yourself, say it naturally, and back it up and explain the project, whatever it is you're talking about.
I understand, as I said at the beginning, that for some people culturally, they will not want to promote themselves or what they've done. But in this instance, what we're talking about is not thinking about yourself. So, and I work with people when they're doing presentations who are very unsure about getting up in front of the group because they don't feel that it's their place, and so they have difficulty actually looking out at an audience because they shouldn't be having eye contact with people who are their peers or they would consider are of a higher echelon in an organisation. That's a cultural activity that they can't get past, and I understand that. So what we do in those situations is that we really, really focus on the message. So you are the messenger. It's not about you. It's not about your standing. It's about the message you want to impart. And so we focus on the message. And if they can't bring themselves to look at the audience, then I will say to them, look beyond the audience. Because even if you're only slightly raised from the rest of the group, if you look out over the top of their heads and you pick a point on the back wall, in the middle of a back wall, to the audience, it looks like you're looking at them because your eyes are in that direction. But to you, you're not faced with that cultural anxiety of feeling that you're looking at someone, or you don't get caught up, even if it's not a cultural thing, you don't get caught up by actually having eye contact with someone and then you keep going back to that person because they're looking at you. So we want to avoid all of those things. Pick a spot on the back wall and just focus on that. I assure you, for everyone in the audience, it will look like you are looking at them. And it will be easier for you to impart the information without those distractions and get that message through. It's about the message. And I know I keep saying it, but that's the thing that gets people through is think about the message. And it's very good for nerves as well, because when you focus on the message and the importance that you feel about the message, the nerves won't be an issue. You won't think about being nervous because you're focused on thinking about the message.
I remembered something somebody was helping, and it's not me because I can talk, but
Really?
But there was a person that they trying to help and said, well, no, I'm not comfortable talking about myself. Said, well, who has the best cherries in town? And they, at the back of the shop, there's no sign to say that we got some fantastic cherries at a very good price. There's no sign, there's no advertising, there's nothing. And then the grocer wondering, why didn't he sell the best cherries in town? To me, that stuck in my mind when my friend told me that's what she was told. And she always remembered the cherries in the back of the shop, nobody touching them, when she tried to be more confident and comfortable about talking about her skills, abilities, etc.
Why does it not surprise any of us that someone told you a story about food to make you remember?
That wasn't told to me, it was told to my friend, but I loved it because it actually, it's a good analogy.
It is a good analogy. It is a very good analogy. We've touched on confidence. We want you to be thinking about confidence in terms of how it is being perceived by the listeners to you, not about how you feel. And we'll be interested in your views. And if you've got any other little stories and anecdotes about what you use to make you feel confident or get through a situation where you know you need to be confident, we'd love to be able to share those with our other listeners. So let us know, drop us a line. But for now, I'm Kim Bailey, she's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec.